another song to you, my Lord, to you, my Lord. Every moment is a gift, and every chance I get, I lift my eyes to your throne, but only you can see us all. Every second miracles go on. You send them down, you send them down. And if only people noticed, there'd be mercy, peace, and love all over this chaotic world. With your help, I stay strong as my soul sings this song to you, my Lord, to you, my Lord. I am brave when you're here, you're beside me. I found you all alone. I'm not alone. Every second miracles go on. You send them down, you send them down. And if only people noticed, there'd be mercy, peace, and love all over this chaotic world. You've given me all I have. You helped me through each way. You are so good to me. And all I do is pray. Every second miracles go on, go on. You send them down, you send them down. And if only people noticed, there'd be mercy, peace, and love all over this chaotic world. Every second miracles go on. You send them down, you send them down. And if only people noticed, there'd be mercy, peace, and love all over this chaotic world. All over this chaotic world. All over this chaotic world.
Вы в пути, мы к вашим услугам. BCR Way Logistics представляет для тех, чья жизнь связана с вождением трака, наш автопарк с грузовыми тягачами Volvo и Freightliner. С нашей техникой и оперативной командой мы создаем все возможные условия для вашей прибыли и безопасности в пути. Наши траки от 2015 года до абсолютно новых 2020 года. года. И есть возможность выкупить предлагаемые нами траки в Volvo или Freightliner. И по желанию в лице водителя вы можете сотрудничать с компанией BTR Way Logistics. BTR Way Logistics – компания, которая создает все возможные условия для водителей. Плохая кредитная история? Нет проблем. Главное, у вас есть CDL. Добро пожаловать в компанию BTR Way Logistics.
Ресторан Тель-Авив Кебаб Хаус. Разнообразное меню, уютный интерьер и приветливый персонал – это основа любого хорошего бизнеса. Обновленное меню успейте попробовать. За окном холод, а в ресторане Тель-Авив Кебаб Хаус уютно, тепло и вкусно. Они ждут вас ежедневно с 12 дня до 12 ночи по адресу 7539 Мейн-стрит, Флашинг, Нью-Йорк 113-67. Звоните к ним по телефону 718-793-3100, 718-793-3100. Ресторан Тель-Авив Кебаб Хаус приглашает вас приятно провести вечер. Для вас бухарская, кавказская, таджикская и узбекская кухня. Живая музыка по вашему желанию, а также бесплатная доставка еды по Квинсу. Повара ресторана Тель-Авив Кебаб Хаус приготовят для вас кулинарные шедевры. Также не забудьте посетить их ресторан Пита Хат, если вы любите шварму. 718-544-6755. А если вы любите бургеры, то обратитесь к ним в ресторан также, K-Burger, 718-544-4797. Ресторан K-Burger, 718-544-4797. Ресторан Тель-Авив Кебаб Хаус, вкус рая. 718-793-3100. Я сам боюсь там кушать, боюсь откусить себе пальцы от таких вкусняшек, которые в этом ресторане. Итак, ресторан Тель-Авив Кебаб Хаус. Добро пожаловать.
Революция на рынке Нью-Йорка. Впервые в истории города вы можете купить органическую водку местного производства. Представляем вам очень мягкую водку «Бояр». На талой воде, без глютена, с сертификатом USDA, да еще и кошерную. Историческое событие. Водка «Бояр» произведена не просто в Америке. Водка «Бояр» сделана в Нью-Йорке.
Positive Life TV. С позитивом по жизни.
Радио Позитив. Мое любимое радио.
Каждый день не может быть хорошим, но есть что-то хорошее в каждом дне. Радио Позитив плюс ТВ. Источник хорошего настроения.
Hello, my dear soul sisters, and welcome back to Tzivia K's show, Miracles Go on Radio Positive Plus TV. Today is Thursday, November 5th, 2020. It was partly cloudy here in New York earlier this morning, but there is still lots of confusion, lots of unclarity, lots of uncertainty in the air. Although, thank God, it's already sunny here today. And we still have, challenging times here all over the world. But despite everything that's going on, there is lots of beauty, meaning, and positivity. And of course, lots and lots of miracles all around us every single day. And in only minutes away, you'll hear one miracle story here live with us today on Radio Positive Plus TV. We're also covering a very seriously and much needed topic today, which is dating and marriage in times of COVID-19. And due to many requests, we have the most incredible guest with us here today, who is, of course, Devorah Kigel. She is a professional dating coach. Devorah Kigel has helped close to 100 women get clarity in their dating life and marry their Basharat soulmate. She has also been teaching classes for women on Judaism for more than 18 years now. Devorah Kigel has her master's in French and lived in Paris for 2 years before discovering Torah and becoming observant. She and her husband Reuven, who is the campus director of Emet Outreach, they host Shabbat guests every week, and this is pre-COVID times, of course. Using humor and honesty, Devorah Kigel shares the entertaining personal journey that led her to develop powerful tools to have the relationship you desire. And girls, we are so super lucky to have Devorah Kigel here with us today. Let's give her a warm welcome.
Thank you so much.
Hello.
Tzivia. Hi.
Oh, it's such an honor to finally have you here. How
Absolutely. It's an honor for me. And first of all, I just wanted to tell you, I haven't really been exposed to your music until now. I find it so inspiring. And it's so amazing when I see other women who are taking a gift that Hashem gave them and blessed them with and using it to bring more light and more Kiddush Hashem into the world. I can't sing for the life of me, but I hope that I'm using my tools properly to bring more of Hashem's light into the world. And therefore, we are also soul sisters, and you're doing a great job. I'm really amazed.
Thank you so much. It is so super awesome having you here. Honestly, I'm honored, and I'm learning so much about you by the day, which is amazing. But before we go into this awesome topic of dating and marriage in COVID times, we would love to hear your personal miracle story. Please share away.
Okay, great. So I'm going to give you a 2-for-1 special because I have 2 quick stories that I wanted to share. The first one happened about 12 years ago, and we were doing a little bit of renovation on our house, and I was in Home Depot like every other day, which I found really frustrating, honestly, because it took away from my spiritual life. I was so involved in the gush mutes of like just doing this home reno. And I was back and forth from Home Depot. It was winter. There was snow on the ground. And I came home from Home Depot and I looked at my finger. I didn't used to wear my rings this way. I used to have my engagement ring, which is the most expensive ring, on the outside, like the farthest from my hand. And I came home and my wedding band was on and my engagement ring was off, which meant somehow it had come off. So I'm thinking maybe it's in Home Depot, freaking out, right? I'm hoping this is insured. Later realized it was not. Okay. So I go to Home Depot. I'm freaking out and I'm looking everywhere for the ring. I can't find it. And I go to the help desk and I said to the lady, the nice non-Jewish lady, I said, I think I may have lost my engagement ring, my diamond ring here in Home Depot. Can I leave you my name and number in case someone finds it? And she said to me, honey, do you think someone's going to give it back if they find it? And I was like, maybe. I still have faith in humankind. So I gave her my name and number. But I didn't hold out a lot of hope. But, I was really trying to work on my emunah and bitachon, which means faith and trust in God. I had been really working hard on that. For the ladies who don't know me, I grew up an atheist. Not believing in God for the first 25 years of my life. I grew up very, very secular with no understanding really of Torah and traditional Judaism and all of that. So it's not natural for me to be like realizing that God is in charge of my life, but I was really, really trying hard to work on my emunah. And I went home and I prayed and I said, Hashem, you know what's best for me. If for some reason it's not right for me to get my ring back, okay, we'll get a cubic zirconia or my husband. it up to you. I don't know what's going to happen. I trust that, maybe there's someone out there that found the ring. Okay, this was on Thursday. I came home and I was praying on Thursday, and you know that there's a special prayer to say, the Rabbi Meir Bal Hanes, right? When you have a lost object, right? So you put a quarter in the pushka and you say the little prayer to, that Hashem, that he should basically speak on your behalf and tell Hashem, please, let's return this object. So I was talking to one of my friends that day, and she said, if you lose a sweater, you could put a 25-cent, quarter in the pushka, but you lost your diamond ring. I think maybe you should write out a check. So I wrote out a check for whatever it was, $36. And I did the whole prayer in Hebrew, which is very hard for me because my Hebrew is not great. And I just let it go. Okay. That was Thursday at about 1:00. I later found out that the person who found the ring found it at 1:00.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, wait for it. So I came home, whatever. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. My husband and I were praying that night, that it should be returned to us, etc. And the next day, Friday, I get a call from Home Depot saying someone found your ring in the parking lot the snow, yesterday. And he didn't want to leave it with the police because he didn't trust the police. And he didn't want to leave it with the Home Depot because he didn't trust them. So he brought it home, but he left his number with Home Depot that I should call him. So I called him. He was like the nicest non-Jewish guy who lives in the neighboring town. And my husband and I went to his house. We had to prove it was our ring. And then we went to his house 5 minutes away. My husband asked his father, he's Russian. So he asked his father, what should I bring to say thank you? So his father said, bring him a nice bottle of vodka or scotch and, a couple $100. So we drove into the driveway, and he has a very fancy car. So we put the $200 away, but we brought the vodka, and we said, hello to this man. And I think he was with his mother-in-law maybe or something in the house. Anyway, it turns out he said to us that he found it on Thursday at 1:00 in the snow in the parking lot. And he came home that night, and he and his wife were praying, to their God, which is really Hashem. They were praying to Hashem that this ring should be somehow reunited with its owner. The woman felt so badly for this nameless woman out there who had lost her engagement ring. Oh my gosh. And okay, so we got the ring back, Baruch Hashem. But what did I really take from that experience? Obviously, I'm very grateful to have my ring back. But it was the first time in my life, I think, that I had really kind of passed my test, so to speak, in Emunah. Because we have a tendency to get very angry at God when things don't go our way. And it was really the first time, honestly, I can say that, it's a little embarrassing, but I can say honestly, it was the first time that I sort of said, whatever you decide, Hashem, is the right thing. So that's my first miracle story. The second quick miracle story, and this is on our topic today, is dating. The reason I became a dating coach is because my dating life was a complete disaster. When I was not religious, it was a disaster. When I became religious, it was also not good. And I had basically at age 26, I had given up on finding the right person. This is why I became a dating coach, because I have women who are secular, women who are religious. I have Ashkenazi, I have Sephardi, I have Bukharian, I have Persian, I have a lot of Persians now, and I have regular Americans. And I really look at it as my job, my passion and my calling to help women through this process to find the right person in as stress-free and calm way as possible. So, because I want to help them avoid, the tsar, the difficulties and challenges that I had. So I had given up basically on finding the right person. And whatever, I'm going to simplify the story into very short, that I was in Israel learning in seminary, a place called Neve Yerushalayim, because I didn't have an education in Torah Judaism, and I needed to up my game. So I was there for 9 months. And at the end of the year there, I started dating shiduchim, right? Like, you know, the real deal, you know, sit across from him at a hotel lobby and drink Coca-Cola, which is like nothing like I'd ever experienced before in dating, clearly. So fast forward, I got engaged to this boy who did not end up being my husband, very, very quickly, because again, I had basically given up. And so I was settling, so to speak, for just a nice person. He was a nice person. He would have made a nice husband and a nice father, but that's not all there is to meeting the right person, right? It's not just, you can't just marry nice. So, although that's a level. So we fought the entire month we were engaged, fast forward. And I ended up breaking off the engagement, which was probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, because I basically was like, okay, basically I'm not getting married. Like, I'm not getting married. I'm ending this because, you know, I didn't feel like he had my deal breakers, which we'll talk about in the interview. And I went to the hotel to say goodbye. I was leaving Israel in a tumult of drama. I was a big drama queen. And it was midnight before my flight was leaving. I'd just broken off my engagement. I'm hysterically crying at the hotel. Hashem, I now keep kosher, and I now keep Shabbat, and I wear clothes, and I was even shomer negia, which means I didn't even touch this boy while I was dating for the first time ever in my life. Okay, and this is what you do to me, Hashem. You cause me this much embarrassment, humiliation, and despair. Okay, tshuva, right? So I was so angry and upset at God. What was God thinking at that moment? Well, my personal opinion is he probably wanted to shake me a little bit and be like, you know, you were about to settle for this guy who's not right for you. I have your bashert waiting in the wings, stage left. 3 months later, you can't be patient and wait 3 months? Okay, so fast forward 3 months later. I just want to tell this quick story because it will please your Russian audience. Wow. My husband is Russian. He came here from Kiev when he was 5 years old. And, you know, that's my biggest claim to fame in my Bukharian community in Queens, where we work with Emmet, is that my husband speaks Russian very well. Okay.
Is everything okay?
Okay, I don't know what happened there.
How is sound?
Okay, so I was living in Manhattan on the Upper West Side, and I was actually dating someone else, and it was not going well. And someone had mentioned I should meet this guy Kigel, and for work, whatever. Long story. So we were, but I didn't know what he looked like, and you know, so I whatever. Ended up meeting him at shul, at synagogue. And we went out that night on our first date, and which I thought was for work. I thought it was a work meeting. Okay, so then after 3 hours of this work meeting, I realized it's not a work meeting. This is a date. I think he likes me, and it's not what we call yashar. It's not straight up to like be dating someone else. So I told him, you know, I don't know if this is relevant, but I'm kind of seeing someone. And my future husband said, that's okay, we'll get rid of him.
Oh my gosh.
So all of my Russian students are like, that is so Russian, like healthy sense of self-confidence, right? And just, he was going to get rid of this guy. Now I knew he's Russian. I think maybe he's in the mafia and he's talking about dumping him in the Hudson River. Okay, but fast forward, the guy is alive and well, but we broke up the next day, and Baruch Hashem, that was over 22 years ago, you know, when I was 5 years old. Okay. And, kidding. Okay. And, you know, Baruch Hashem, that is my miracle dating story. And I really try to convey to women that, you know, that they shouldn't give up. I firmly believe that God has a perfect person picked out for each of you, and you just have to hang on there. My mother used to give me the advice, it doesn't matter that the statistics are bad. And it doesn't matter that you go on these endless dates that are frustrating and, you know, not productive, because all it takes is one. And that's really true. So I found my one. Baruch Hashem.
Wow, the stories are mind-blowing. We love your sense of humor. The girls are cheering you on, and they're commenting. They love this. They sent you tons and tons of hearts. Baruch
Thank
Hashem,
you.
it's sharing and we have lots of viewers. But girls, ladies, please stay tuned. We're going on a little musical break and we're coming right back with the topic of dating and marriage during COVID times. Stay tuned.
בואי בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם ברינה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני סגולה. בואי בשלום, בואי, בואי, תוך אמוני סגולה. בואי, בואי כלה, תוך אמוני סגולה. בואי בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם ברינה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני סגולה. בואי בשלום, בואי, בואי, תוך אמוני סגולה. בואי, בואי כלה, תוך אמוני סגולה. בואי, בואי כלה, תוך אמוני סגולה. בואי, בואי כלה. בואי בשלום, עטרת בעלה, גם ברינה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני סגולה. בואי, בואי כלה, תוך אמוני סגולה.
Positive Life TV. С позитивом по жизни.
And we're back here on Tzivia K's show, Miracles Go On Radio Positive Plus TV, with the guest of honor, Devorah Kigel, on topic dating and marriage in COVID times. Hello, Devorah, are you there with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Awesome. So we know that you're a very successful and a professional dating and marriage coach, and we'd like to find out what exactly does a dating coach do?
Okay, great. So a lot of people ask me this question, so it's very important that I tell you. So basically, a dating coach helps a person to get clarity through the dating process, right? So when I meet with someone, I usually have an initial meeting with them that generally runs about an hour, where I try to get a feel for their family of upbringing, their dating history. I try to look for patterns of like what they typically do, what might be their weakness, what we need to be attentive to and work on. And then we make what's called a deal breaker list. So the deal breaker list is basically, I would say 6 to 10, although I don't yell at them if it's 11 or 12, but not really more than that, things that for you are the most crucial to your happiness, right? On the negative side, this would be like an allergy, right? Like I am driven crazy by people who are negative, critical, cynical people. I'm being honest, right? So that for me is an allergy. So I married someone who is like the opposite of that. He's like Mr. Positivity, right? So on the negative side, it's like an allergy. And on the positive side, what we would call a non-negotiable is something like a midah, a character trait or a personality trait or a value that for you is so important that you can't imagine spending your life with someone that didn't have this particular thing. So that initial session just I've had 2 girls call me from the bathroom on a date. Okay, how do I end this quickly? Right? But you know, I usually speak to a girl after every date or every couple of dates to try to just evaluate, you know, the chemistry isn't so great. Should I give it another shot? Right? He said this. Is this a red flag? Like, is it concerning that he said this? Is that indicative of something bad? Right? You know, how do I bring up this sensitive topic in a way that he won't get offended or defensive? Right? Like how to basically negotiate the dating process in a way that's calm and etc. You know, is just like not so anxiety producing. One thing I always tell my girls is that I'm the only person in your life that's truly objective. What do I mean by that? Your parents may be saying, no, he has 2 legs, he has a job, marry him. What's the problem, right? And then the shadchan, the matchmaker, might be saying, you know, they're not 100% objective because usually they are going to get a reward of some sort, you know, at the end if the couple gets married. For me, I'm being paid either way, right? The girl is paying me by the minute, whether the shidduch works out or not. So I am not attached to a particular outcome. I just want to make sure that she's making good decisions and treating herself with respect and demanding respect from men and really getting clear about what's important so that she doesn't, God forbid, miss the right person because she's focused on the wrong things. So that's basically what I do in short.
That's very interesting. You know, I've never heard of a dating coach in my life before. We've heard of marriage counselors by now, but you know, having a dating coach. In fact, this was my dating coach back in the 2 Halves of a Whole.
That's a great book.
Yeah, that is an amazing book. And sometimes, you know, God sends you a total opposite, a guy you never actually wanted to marry, but he works out just perfect just for you. Does that happen?
So what I try to tell girls is to not be too wedded to a particular picture in your mind of what he looks like or what job he might have, right? We want to be open to Hashem putting our person inside a package that we might not have expected. Did I expect I was going to marry a Russian guy? No, I was really hoping for French. You know what I'm saying? French tan Sephardi guy. I'm just kidding. Not really. But anyway, the Russian guy was the right one for me, you know, because he's so strong and I'm a strong woman. I needed a stronger guy, right? So these American guys, it just wasn't working for me. So I really try to get girls to open up to the possibility that maybe he looks a little different. Maybe he has a different job. Maybe he's a different age. Maybe he's your height if you wear heels. Okay, but like, is that really important at the end of the day? No. We want to be we want to be looking inside to his core inner traits. Does this person have the core attributes that are going to enable me to have a great marriage?
Wow, that is awesome and very helpful today. I want to ask you a question. Do you consider yourself a shadchanit, a matchmaker?
I'm so glad you asked me that question, because so many times I get a message on Facebook or I get a text or an email. I heard you're a matchmaker. Can I give you my information? And I'm like, I'm really bad at that. It's not my skill set at all. I have made one shidduch. So you never know, Hashem may give me a good idea in the future, but that's definitely not my skill set. What I do is, once an idea has been suggested to you or you meet someone, so that's where I click into play. Although some girls like to meet with me proactively before they actually go on, get set up or meet someone, just to clarify what's important in the dating process. But yeah, I don't generally have very good ideas. I'm still hoping I'll make another 2 and get my way into Shemayim, but we'll see.
That's amazing. Okay, so how does someone know that they're dating their bashert? Often girls have questions, if he's my soulmate or not. I'm very intuitive. I right away knew exactly. And, I'm sure you're very intuitive too. But some girls are not so intuitive, and some men are not intuitive either. So how do they know that they're marrying the right soulmate, the bashert? And what are the criteria to know he's your future husband?
Great question. So first of all, theoretically, in an ideal world, our intuition would work really well. But unfortunately, for a lot of women, myself included, when you've dated a lot, you can kind of get a broken radar, if you know what I mean. Like, your gut feeling is sometimes wrong because it's been wrong before, and then you don't trust it, and it's sort of like off kilter. So that's really where a dating mentor or a dating coach can help you to just really evaluate very objectively what's going on. So this is my criteria in short for how do you know you're dating your husband. Number 1, he has your deal breakers, meaning he doesn't have your negative things and he has your positive things. If you have a list of 6 to 10 things, you should really, I think, expect, if it's a realistic list.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, an example would be anger issues, overly critical, controlling. A positive thing would be, let's say, warm, encouraging, has a job. Maybe you want him to be ambitious, educated. Every person's list is different, and you have to evaluate very, very clearly, is this a want or is this a need? You only want needs on that list. So once you've developed that list, I think we can realistically expect that, the vast majority of our things we should realistically expect to get. Beyond that, obviously, you have to be attracted to this person that you're marrying. According to Jewish law, we're not allowed to marry someone we're not physically attracted to. I will give a little bit of a caveat there that for women in particular, attraction can grow over time as you feel more connected emotionally to this person that you're dating, and as you see more positives in him. Now, obviously, one of my favorite lines, I have to trademark this, is Mr. Parav, right? Parav is neither milk nor meat, right? It's neutral. So you're kind of like, it's okay, right? Mr. Parav will eventually go to yay, this is my future husband, or ew, I can't spend another 2 hours with this person, right? If you date long enough, it will go one way or the other, as long as you're being honest with yourself. So attraction obviously has to be there, but we want to give it a chance to develop. Beyond that, of course, you want to have similar goals and values, particularly regarding Judaism, right? We don't want to end up with someone who's on a very, very different track than we are, right? If you're headed to becoming more observant and he's going the other direction, that's going to be a major shalom bayit problem in marriage, right? It's going to cause you problems because you're not going in the same direction. So
I'm going to interrupt you for a second. I do apologize. But what if he is your basheret? We do know the whole Kabbalistic Zohar thing, 40 days prior to the conception in the womb, a heavenly voice proclaims that so and so is destined to be with so and so. what happens if he is your bashert? We know Rachel and Akiva. We know so many stories, and they're total opposites, but then they're destined to be together, and they have this like tikkun to kind of fix themselves. They're made opposite of each other. What's with that?
Okay, great question. So first of all, I think it puts a lot of pressure on people when they feel like there's only one person in the entire world that they could marry. So while that source obviously, is true, we don't know exactly what that means. And I would say that it puts a lot of pressure on a girl to feel like, what if I miss him? And there's only one person out there. I think that you could have a successful marriage with more than one person. But we do what you're pointing out with Rachel and Akiva, Rabbi Akiva. So he was an uneducated person. He did not know Torah when she met him. And I think he was 40 years old, late developer. And she saw in him the potential to be Rabbi Akiva, who was one of the greatest sages in Judaism in our history of all time. So I don't know if you and I and the average woman today has that perceptive abina and intuition to be able to see the Rabbi Akiva in the regular guy. What I will tell you is that when I dated my husband, I was definitely farther along on my Jewish journey than he was. However, on our first date, I saw this guy is on fire with Judaism. That's what makes him so successful a rabbi at Emet, because he loves Torah and he loves Hashem, and that's the guy I met. So yes, he had long hair and, a blue shirt, and looked a little bit of a different presentation than he does now, but he was still that same person who wanted to fully embrace Judaism. And obviously I did have my red lines, so to speak, right? I always tell girls, you got to have a bottom line. What are the minimum observant qualifications, right? My husband kept kosher, he kept Shabbat. We were prepared to keep the laws of Taharat HaMishpacha, right? So our bottom line was the same. And then of course we've grown from there. So I wouldn't really recommend, particularly for your audience, marrying a project. Right? We don't want to marry someone who we hope we're going to fix into the right person. I think that that's a mistake. So going back to our criteria, the deal breaker list, physical attraction, common goals and values, we're going in the same direction. The picture of what we want life to be like is the same as his. And mutual respect and admiration is very, very important. You want to feel like a general sense of, I really admire this person. I love being with him. We have great conversations. We connect. And I just like him so much, who he is inside, right? I always say, if you could limit marriage to two most important criteria, it would be looking for someone with what's called a lev tov, which means a good heart, and someone who is a growth-oriented person. He's a grower. Because marriage, as you probably know, I'm 22 years in, right? It's all about growth and change.
Oh,
and
yeah.
If you are stuck, right? If you're stuck and like, dude, I don't want to change, this is who I am, you're dead in the water, unfortunately. So that's kind of the short story of what we should be looking for.
Wow, thank you. So how is dating different during the pandemic times? Anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, so look, this is a very, very difficult time we're living in. This is, the first time since 1918 that we're dealing with some kind of worldwide pandemic like this. Obviously, dating has been impacted. But I will tell you, I've had more girls, I'm almost up to 150 girls who are engaged since I started dating coaching. I've had more girls get engaged during Corona than I think any other time that I've been doing this coaching. Why? You know why? Because people are finally prioritizing their dating life. Usually you're in this rat race of like school, work, gym, family, school, work, gym, family, and you don't prioritize your dating life, unfortunately. So I've had a lot of women reach out to me for the first time saying to me, you know what? I finally am able to make time for this, and I want to meet with you, and I want to focus on getting married this year. So I've had a lot of girls, get engaged in this time period since March because they're actually devoting some time to finding the one and preparing to meet the one, etc. Obviously, there's been a lot more Zoom FaceTime, WhatsApp video dating, which, is of course what we always used to do when it was long distance, right? Sometimes if you're in New York and you want to, and there's a guy from LA who wants to meet you, usually we recommend, a few Zoom or FaceTime dates to develop, to see if there's enough potential to meet in person. So a lot of people are doing that here as well, where they'll have a few video dates to see if it's, worth meeting in person. And then they meet in person, outside, socially distanced, in the park, whatever. We've had to get creative. Here in Passaic, New Jersey, where I live, there were dates, many, many dates over the last 6 months in people's backyard. It was so cute. People would open up their backyard to a random couple who needed a place to sit and date. And they would sit on the back porch or whatever of this random house and have a date. So we've had to get creative. But I think in a way, there's been a positive thing that instead of going to all these shows and movies and restaurants, and then you can lose sight of, do I even like this person? Or do I like, shows and restaurants and movies, right? So because there's been very, very limited options for what you could actually do on dates, actually it forces the couple to say to themselves, do I even like hanging out with this person? Because all we can do is sit on the porch and talk.
And that is incredible. It's like taking you back to the olden days, meeting by the well, going by the nature. And that's awesome. And I think the girls kind of got, and the boys, sitting at home, being cornered. I want to get out and meet someone. So that was positive. It's a plus. But what about the married couples? I know you're also a marriage counselor.
Yes.
What about the married?
Okay, great. So marriage, I want to relax everyone out there. Okay, I'm going to tell you something that's going to relax you. If you have been feeling over the last 8 months during Corona, oh my gosh, I think there's something really wrong with our marriage. Don't worry, okay? It's not a normal situation to be trapped indoors with your husband for 8 months, day in and day out. It's not normal. It's not healthy. It's not what is meant to be. So, you need your space. This is like a very, very important thing in marriage. We need our space. That's the beauty of the laws of Taharat HaMishpacha, right? Because there's togetherness and there's separation, and then there's a reunification. So if you're always, in the same Dalet Amos, right? If you're stuck inside, a 3-room apartment with your husband and 3 little kids, the fact that you are sane at this point, even a little bit, even if it takes a couple of glasses of wine at the end of the day, that's an accomplishment. This is really hard. And I've been telling a lot of my, young mommy students, my girls who have like a bunch of little kids at home, you guys are the heroes of Corona. Honestly, in addition to the doctors and the first line workers and everyone else, the mommies of young kids, I give you guys so much credit. I'm so happy my children are teenagers and older, because it would have been really challenging to have young kids all trapped indoors, homeschool, Zoom, conference call. It's so difficult. So I want to relax you that if you've been feeling a little bit nervous, what happened to our marriage during Corona, don't you worry. As soon as we get out of this, it's going to be much, much better. As for right now, I really would advise you to each of you spend some time apart, getting out, take a walk, go work out, exercise, go see a friend, go to a Torah class. Your husband should also be doing these things, so that then you can come back at the end of the day and there's something to share. It's funny, in the early months of quarantine, my husband would say, how was your day? And I'm like, you know how my day was because you were here, right? So why are you asking me, right? So now, Baruch Hashem, he's back in Queens a couple of days a week with Emmet, and I'm doing my thing. And I finally got back to the gym, Baruch Hashem, which was really causing me a lot of depression. But I think it's very, very important to just calm ourselves down and realize this is not a natural situation. And if you can just grab some time to yourself for self-care, take turns with the kids. He can watch them while you run out to an exercise class or go for a walk or have a conversation with a friend or go to a Torah class. Plug. I'm teaching this Sunday night for Emmet on Eve. Was it all her fault? Okay, so it's going to be an awesome class. Check me out. You see my information behind me. My website is devorahkigel.com, or you can find me on Facebook, Devorah Rose Kigel. And I'm teaching probably at least once or twice a week at this point on Zoom. So you can find me, and I can try to give a little bit of light into this dark world that we're living in. But marriage is a constant avoda, which means it's work. Hopefully you found someone where it's kind of fun work, right? But it's work. And there's going to be times when you feel close and times when you do not feel close. And that doesn't mean there's anything particularly alarming going on. It just means you need a date night, or you need to get away for the night without the kids, or you need to sit down on the couch and have a glass of wine together and talk and just reconnect.
Wow, you're super phenomenal. I'm loving your energy. You're wow. Kol hakavod. Ladies, by the way, please don't hesitate to text us at 347-489-7042 and ask Devorah Kigel some questions. She's here to answer, or call us directly at Radio Positive Plus TV at 917-609-8929. We're waiting for some of your questions. So I just wanted to clarify, dear Devorah, for your married couples, did we see more negative or did we see more positive during the COVID challenging times?
So it's interesting. I've had a lot of women say to me, and I reflect this myself as well, that we had family dinner pretty much every night, right? Since March. That is a very unusual occurrence, right? Other than Shabbat, which Baruch Hashem, we have Shabbat without our phone and we can sit down as a family. But other than that, my husband and I and the kids rarely sat down for a family meal. So certainly from March till I would say, I don't know, maybe September, it was really amazing that we could, really have family dinner together. So that I think was a positive. On the negative side, I do think marriages are suffering during this time. As I said before, it's just a lot of togetherness and togetherness with the family, right? So that's not quality time as a couple, right? That's quality time as a family. So I'm a little bit like a broken record about date night. I feel it's really, really important to once a week try to have some quality time together without phones. You can, go eat outside. Now it's like gorgeous weather. It's going to be, I think, 65, 70 for the next week. So, get outdoors. There's restaurants that are having outdoor seating. Take a walk in the park, right? Do something outside that's fun, that's enjoyable for you and your husband, and just reconnect to the couple that you are. Remember when you were dating, right? Like you weren't talking about the mortgage, the bills, the kids' diapers, right? Stress. You weren't talking about that when you were dating and getting to know each other. We're still meant to date, right? We should still be boyfriend and girlfriend forever, which means there's always things to learn about each other. That's one of the most exciting things about marriage, is that if you are a growing person and your husband is a growing person, then you're always two new people getting to know each other. It's never boring, stale, and old, because you're always growing and becoming a new person.
That's awesome. We have here Yelena, who is married. Baruch Hashem, she's texting us and she's saying, I actually really enjoyed being home with my husband. I don't want him to go back to his office, LOL. We love that. I actually also had a positive about staying home. I really felt definitely connected. It's awesome, Played some guitar for him, sang him songs.
That's
we
beautiful.
drew together. It's really amazing to keep doing some projects. We find that the you time together and then the kids time together. What you're doing is super awesome.
Yeah, you got to balance it all. It's not simple.
Yeah. So ladies, do we have questions? Do we have calls? Actually, here I have some incoming. Let me just check this. Okay, here I have a few questions here coming in. What do we do what to do when your husband is too stubborn and controlling over every little thing out there?
Okay, so I'm glad this was brought up, because I'm very, very clear with all of my clients and students about where coaching ends and where therapy begins. If you are dealing with a situation in your marriage that is what I call off the chart, okay, which means, God forbid, emotional abuse, physical abuse, addictions, infidelity, anything like that, you got to see a professional. I have people I can refer you to. Coaching comes in more when it's something that just needs a little tweak, right? You got to work on, this or communication or like judging favorably, having what's called an ayin tova, right? I always joke that when you're dating, you got to have both eyes wide open to see any problems or red flags, but then under the chuppah, you close one eye. Okay, so what does that mean? For the rest of your life, you want to close that eye to the negative as much as possible. That does not mean that we ignore reality or we stuff everything under the carpet. It means that we have to not pick on him and criticize him for little things. We want to save, choose our battles for, things that are really important and not beat him up, so to speak, for things that are really not important. So closing one eye to the negative allows us to really focus on the positive in our husband. So anything that is kind of beyond the pale of just sort of regular, normal stuff that goes on in marriage, please see a professional. Therapy is here for a reason, and I've seen wonderful, talk about miracles. I've seen miracles when you end up at the right doorstep with the right person. I will say that my husband also is a marriage coach for the husbands.
Awesome.
Not that they need any work at all, but it does take two to tango. And if you feel like your husband might benefit from marriage coaching, my husband, is available for that, and he does a phenomenal job of just man to man, speaking to these guys. I will say, and you and I spoke about this before the show, that I think the biggest mistake that married women fall into, and I am no different than anyone else in this regard, is that we tend to a little bit be too critical and kind of pick on the little things in our husband that we don't like, which at the end of the day aren't so important, and that makes him feel very disrespected, very not admired. I was a cheerleader in high school. And so I always say that, under the chuppah, we want to pick up our pom-poms, right? And we want to cheer him on for the rest of our life. Am I perfect at this? Absolutely not. It's something I'm really, really working on. It doesn't come naturally to me. So don't be disheartened or discouraged if you think this is too big a task. But I myself also, have to work on, I got to be a cheerleader. I want my husband to realize how much I admire him and respect him and think he's so amazing. And the truth of the matter is, ladies, I know this from personal experience, if your husband feels that you don't believe in him, there's no way that he can be successful. It's literally impossible unless he feels my wife believes in me, right? We have to have emunah, not just in God, in our husband, right? My husband was a Wall Street guy. He wasn't a rabbi. Right? The fact that in his mid-30s, he switched careers from being a finance guy on Wall Street to a rabbi for Emet 13 years ago, this was a miracle. And that's a whole other miracle story. You can have me back to tell that story.
Love it.
That was its own miracle story. But had I not believed in his potential to do what he's doing now, there's no way that he'd be doing it. And he'd be the first person, if he was here, to tell you that he wouldn't be doing what he's doing for Emet unless his wife, believed in his capabilities and his potential.
Absolutely. Make him your king and he will make you the queen. I'm loving it. Well, I actually had a whole game prepared. It was like an impromptu, and I was going to put you on the spot. But we only have like a few minutes left, and I would like to give you a final word for our audience, maybe some tips. And we'd definitely love to have you back, absolutely, to give more of an advanced kind of a class.
Thank you so much. So I guess my parting words would be for my single girls. First of all, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help. I run dating series for Emet and for other organizations throughout the year on Zoom now or in person when this is all over. And I'm really, really here to help. I have probably, at least 20 if not more, clients of mine that were ready to break up with their now husbands after 1 date, 2 dates, sometimes 3, 4, 5 dates. And it was only because they were talking to someone who was objective and could help them kind of figure out if this was a good decision that they're married today. So for my single girls, don't give up. Hashem has the perfect person picked out for you. Not perfect, but perfect for you. Okay, and I'm happy to help you figure that out. And for my married ladies, also don't give up. Have emunah in Hashem and in your husband. No one wants you to have a better marriage than God does. So we have to bring Hashem into our marriage as our third partner. This is a really important point that I always say, are you praying for a great marriage? Are you asking Hashem? And often women will say, no. So I said, how do you expect it to be successful then? Right? We have such a unique tool as Jewish women to be able to have a third partner in marriage. It's not just the two of you bumbling around and trying to figure it out yourself. Hashem, you bring Hashem into your marriage, especially through the mitzvot that relate to marriage, right? We bring Hashem in and we can ask for his help. Hashem, please help me to be a great wife. Help me to know when to say something and when to be quiet. Help us to have shalom bayit. Help me to believe in my husband and help him to be successful. I pray every day, at least once, that my husband should be super successful in his Torah learning, in his job, right? In all the different ways, in parnasah, in health, right? And I daven, obviously, I pray for shalom bayit every day. This is crucial. And you don't have to be religious to talk to God, right? That's kind of an oxymoron. But you don't have to, just because you might say, oh, I don't keep kosher, I don't keep Shabbat, I don't wear skirts, I don't cover my hair. How can I talk to God? Trust me, you can talk to God. He wants to hear from you. So ask him for a great marriage. This is a very basic thing, but we sometimes forget the things that are most basic.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. You're super phenomenal. We love you. Please come back.
I will. Thank you.
Yeah, what an honor. And girls, I'd just like to end this show with a few awesome quotes that I love so much. A perfect marriage is just two imperfect people who refuse to give up on each other. One of my favorites. Marriage is a gift from God to us. The quality of our marriage is our gift to him. Isn't that awesome? Marriage is not 50-50. Divorce is 50-50. Marriage is 100-100. It isn't dividing everything in half, but giving everything that you have got. Keep on loving each other. Keep on smiling, bringing on the good energy. Get creative. Make yourself feel good about yourself. Do some self-care. And pray. Like Rebbitzin just told us, keep on praying. There is a segula just for your husband. May you continue loving each other. Blessings, love, and light. Miracles do go on. Stay tuned for next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
See you next time.
The words you said to me, I felt the harm you've done. No question that I'm hurting, I just wanna turn and run. Now anger flows between us like a river between cliffs. I'd never have foreseen us, not in all of my what ifs. We thought our ground was firm, but now our whole perspective shifts. If we try to hold on tight, we can lose the will to fight. You're a part of me, at the heart of me. You're the chorus of my song. Don't care how far apart we are, it's clear where we belong. Our ties are much too strong to depend on right or wrong. Though the pain may sting, the most painful thing is missing you. 'Cause I don't want to sing solo when I sing. I ought to turn away from you. My heart knows that I should. And yet each time I look at you, I still see so much good. Now anger blows right through us like a gust right through the trees. But friendship can't pursue us, it can carry in the breeze. We thought we'd have a lifetime, but we have no guarantees. Hang on before we fall, 'cause we stand to lose it all. You're a part of me, at the heart of me. You're the chorus of my song. Don't care how far apart we are, it's clear where we belong. Our ties are much too strong to depend on